Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. My name is Anna, and a few months ago I made a video that I'm coming back to YouTube with a completely different content. Before I used to do macrame, and now I've turned this into a cooking channel. And I said in that video that I'm gonna give this new change, new transformation, a couple months of like a trial period to see how it goes and if I really want to do this. And in this video, I want to answer that question, and I also want to do a little bit of a Q&A. So a simple answer to my question is yes, I want to keep doing this. I'm really enjoying this whole cooking theme of my channel. And it's pretty easy for me to do, to be honest, because I'm cooking either way, whether there is a camera or not. So to take out the camera and film myself cooking, or just do a little talking video like I've been doing for these pantry, fridge, freezer staples, it's fairly easy. Plus, I have done this big step, I feel like, in my YouTube career journey, if you want to call it that. And that is that I have hired an editor. So Lucia, who is editing this video, or has edited this video, has been a huge help for me, because now what I do is I just film myself cooking or doing the video or whatever, upload it to our shared folder, and a couple days later I have a finished video, which is just, it's amazing for me. Before, the editing would take me many hours every week, and that was hours that I could spend doing loads of other things. So I'm so happy that I've made that decision, and someone else is now editing all of these videos. There is one more thing I wanted to say on this topic before doing the Q&A, and that is that it's unfortunately not all, paradise and rainbows and unicorns or whatever you say, because the thing about YouTube is that YouTube wants to put you in a box. It wants to understand what kind of content you're making so that it can then suggest your videos to people that like to watch that kind of content. And so whenever you make a shift, like I did, from one topic, which was macrame, to something else, which is cooking, even though they can be, well, I don't want to say related, but there are of course people that want to watch both. A lot of people don't. A lot of people just came here for that one topic, and now YouTube, or at least I think that's what's happening, YouTube is still suggesting all of my videos to people who want to watch macrame content. And so the result being that my new cooking videos are nowhere near as successful as my macrame videos have been. And of course, this is difficult to deal with. It's challenging, because you kind of feel like, oh, why does nobody want to watch my cooking content? And you doubt yourself, and you think like, oh, is it not interesting enough? Do people not care about this kind of content? How am I not a good cook? Like, all of these questions running through your mind, and you just have to stay calm and carry on, right? To use the overused phrase, because it's not you. You have to keep reminding yourself that it's not you. This is the algorithm not understanding that you have switched content. YouTube doesn't understand that it should be promoting my videos to people who want to watch cooking videos. Or at least that's what I keep telling myself to keep myself motivated, right? Maybe it's not the case. Maybe I am a bad cook and nobody cares for my cooking content. But I really hope that that's not the case. And it's just, I keep thinking that it's just going to take a while before I get to a point where YouTube will realize that there has been a shift, and it will start promoting my content to people who want to watch that kind of content. So it's a bit like, yes, I'm having fun, but also it's pretty demotivating to see that people are not watching what I'm putting out there. But fingers crossed, that's going to change soon. So that was all I had to say on this. My trial period with cooking videos is over, and yes, I will keep doing this and I look forward to it. So now on to your questions. I think so here's the thing. I only got two people that have submitted questions. I know I haven't, I just posted about it yesterday or 2 days ago in the video I mentioned it, and not a lot of people watch that content, so, probably not a lot of people have had a chance to even think about this. But those two questions that I got are pretty good ones, so I think I can definitely talk a while about those things. One is cooking related, the other one is macrame related. I'm first gonna do the cooking, since that's my new theme, new content, but then I also want to do the macrame one, since I know a lot of you are still interested in that. So that first comment is from Marie, who says, "Hello, I loved your macrame channel and learned so much. I love to macrame, but I also love cooking. I'm loving your transition." I'm so grateful that that's the case, and I'm so grateful that there are many of you that feel the same way. But anyways, I live in the US and our family tries to avoid food dyes and a lot of the unhealthy and unnecessary ingredients that are in our food. I'm always seeing that in other countries, these types of things are banned. Is this true for where you live? What are the things you try and avoid? Also, do you garden or grow any food? So a couple of questions packed into that one comment. So on that first note, that you say that you're always seeing that in other countries these types of things are banned, and if that's true for where I live. So just to clarify, I live in the Czech Republic, which is in Europe, in case you didn't know. And this next part, like what my answer is going to be, you have to understand and take it for what it is. I'm just a regular person. I didn't do any deep dives into this topic. I haven't read any studies or haven't seen any statistics. This is just my opinion based on the content I myself consume, what I read here and there or hear about. So here's my answer. Yes, I think that European laws, or like in many European countries, the laws are a lot more strict in the US, and that's just not just about food, like about a lot of other subjects as well. Again, don't quote me on this, like I don't know if that is actually the case. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but that's just the impression I get from loads of different sources. And so that's true for food as well. I think that our food is, I don't want to say that it's more healthy, but maybe it is more regulated. So yes, I do feel like that is the case. Now, your other question, kind of tied to that, what are the things you try and avoid? I think that it just makes me think overall about my relationship with food, I guess you could say. So what do I try and avoid? So I think the answer is similar to what you have written, Marie, that you try and avoid the unhealthy, unnecessary ingredients that are in the food. But it's not like I would go and study the labels on food. I never do that. Never, ever. I'm not really interested in it. There is not like one particular thing that I'm trying to avoid. I don't try to avoid fat. I don't try to avoid sugar. I don't like none of it. Not one particular thing. What I do try to avoid, which is like a more general thing, is things that are more processed. I think the proper term is highly processed foods, but to be honest, I don't have a definition. I don't have a definition of what highly processed food is. It's just, in my mind, it's things like pre-packaged packaged meals, like a full meal, the one that you take out of a package, you put it in the microwave or you put it in the oven, and in a few minutes it's done and it's a done meal. I feel like those things you just don't know what exactly they put in them, and I'm not saying that they're necessarily unhealthy because of it. I like to have control over it. I think that's the point. Like, if I make the food, I know exactly what went into it, even though like there's always like that little devil on my shoulder that will contradict me and say, well, but do you really? Because so here's an example, right? I'm thinking of like a lasagna or a bolognese sauce. So let's imagine that you bought a package with pasta in it, with the bolognese sauce in it, and you cook that, right? Whereas if I make it at home, I'm still going to use, like, I don't make my own pasta. I'm still using a pasta that came out of a box. I'm not making my own tomato sauce. I'm using one that came out of a can that came from the store. So there is still things that I use which I don't really know what went into them. So it's just, I guess I'm trying to break it down more and more to the original ingredients. So for the bolognese sauce, the original ingredients are the carrots and the celery that I'm adding in, that are like actual carrots and celery, and not some pre-made, pre-prepared thing. I think you can see what I mean, that I can talk about these questions a lot. So that's the general thing. And same thing, like, maybe you were surprised that I said that I don't try and avoid sugar. I think my overall philosophy when it comes to food is that food is something to be enjoyed. I love food. I love eating great food. I love sweets. I love pastries. I love all these things that if I ate only those things every day, I would not be very healthy, let's just say. And same thing with the sugar. So that's why I don't try and avoid it, because I enjoy it every once in a while, right? And I think that's also something that I'm trying to do, is to create balance. We don't have a sweet breakfast every single day, but every once in a while, maybe once every 2 weeks, once every 10 days, I'm going to bake something like strawberry cake you saw me bake before, or a banana bread, and I will put quite a good amount of sugar in both of those things. And we have that for next day or the next 2 days breakfast. But then the day after, we have scrambled eggs, and the day after that, we have some oatmeal with some apples, or again, something that doesn't contain added sugar. But it's not like I'm somehow measuring it, or I'm thinking like, oh, today we had, that banana bread, so tomorrow we must have something that's not sweet. I don't think about it that way. It just sort of naturally, it's also like my taste. I don't want to have a sweet breakfast every single day. I don't want to have a sweet snack for, twice a day for each snack. It's just, I feel like I'm maybe listening to my body, if that makes sense. Like, if it's craving something sweet, I will give it something sweet, and then I know that the next day it's going to crave something else, and so I do something else. So that's, I think, my very long answer to that short question. And maybe one more thing to add to that, for me, and how I think about it, again, going back to the philosophy, it's also not just about things I'm trying to avoid, it's things I'm trying to include. So it's those healthy things that you want to be eating. It's all those vegetables. It's all those I don't know, healthy proteins or healthy fats or whatever. And when you are trying to include those things, that means you can't have all those other things that are maybe not as healthy. I hope that makes sense. Like if I'm trying to include vegetables and I want to eat more vegetables, that means there is less space to have sweet stuff or whatever other stuff that you don't find as desirable maybe. And I think I focus more on the good stuff, on like the positive. What do I want to have? And let's include that. And then maybe I can think about, oh, maybe we shouldn't be having this, and swap it out for something else. I don't know. Does that make sense? Did I over-explain something that was very simple and I could be said in 2 sentences? Maybe. So I hope that, yeah, again, that made sense and that it answered that question. And then the last one you were asking, if I garden or grow any food. Not where I live. So I live in this apartment in a small city in the Czech Republic, and we don't have a garden. We do have a balcony, which is what you see me looking at right now. And I have precisely 2 edible things on my balcony, and that's thyme and rosemary. So I have those 2 herbs. I'm very proud of being able to keep them alive for as long as I did, which at this point is like a couple months. So that's a huge achievement for me. But there's nothing else that I'm growing. I'm pretty sure I could grow more things. Like you see people growing, I don't know, tomatoes on their balconies as well, and all of these veggies. But I don't do that. I have a feeling my thumbs are not very green, so I think I will have to do a lot of learning to be able to keep those things alive. But we do have a huge garden in our country house. So you've seen me share some footage from that country house as well. Lucia can put a little bit of that B-roll in here for you. And what we have there is loads and loads of fruit trees and fruit bushes, I guess you call them. So the fruit trees, we have tons of apples. We have some pears and plums, apricots, peaches, cherries. What else? I think those are the main ones. We have also like huge walnut trees. So we have lots of walnuts as well. And then the bushes, we've got blueberries, raspberries, gooseberries. Is that what they're called? I think so. Red currants, white currants, and I think that's it. Those are all of them. There is no vegetables. It is our country house where we mostly go on the weekends and not even every weekend. So I feel like the vegetables, we just wouldn't be able to keep those alive because we're not there to take care of them, to water them every other day or however often you have to water vegetables. Whereas the fruit trees and the bushes, they're okay. In the summer when we have lots of the heat waves coming in, we really try to go there at least once a week to water them and to also pick them, which is lots of fun, and to eat them. Like, of course, I mean, that's why we do it, right? So it's amazing to have all those resources, all that food growing in there, and I just love it there. So that's kind of where we grow the food. So that's that comment answered, and now moving on to the macrame one. So Dreamily Dreamer says, "Hi Anna, I found you a few years ago through macrame and absolutely love your work. Thank you very much. You're very inspiring, and thank you so much for sharing your work and knowledge here in YouTube." And here's the question: when and how did you first get into macrame, and how did you learn? So it was many years ago. I'm gonna guess probably over 10 years ago at this point, when I saw a video done by Mr. Kate. I will try to look for it, but I have no idea if I can find it. If I can, I will make sure to link it below. So Mr. Kate is a channel that does a lot of interior decor, interior design, and in one of her videos, she was decorating a room, and as like a little side project in that, she made macrame for the room decor. And when I saw her making it, at this point, I can't even remember what it was. It was something relatively simple. I was thinking like, ooh, that sounds like fun. She's just, doing this thing with her hands and no equipment, and it looks good. I want to save that. I want to make sure I remember what this technique is called, and who knows, maybe one day I'll give it a go myself. And then nothing for the next couple of years. And after a few years, I was just in a moment where I was like, I would really like to do something creative with my hands. And I remembered that macrame piece that she did. I started Googling macrame, easy macrame projects or something like that, macrame for beginners. I found one video, again, at this point, I don't even remember what it was, and I gave it a shot, and I really, really enjoyed it. And since then, you know what happened? I got the YouTube channel where, actually, no, at first I thought I was gonna do macrame for weddings. I thought that I would create for myself this collection of like wedding arches and all these, other things like macrame backdrops for the photo booth or whatever, all that sort of stuff. And then I would rent it for weddings. And then I thought that it just seemed like a lot of work, a lot of effort that would have to go into this. Not so much into creating the macrame pieces, but then to get them out there, to get the business going, to get customers. And it was just, I was not enjoying that one bit. So I did have maybe like 3 occasions where I did rent the macrame to someone, but that was pretty much it. And after that, I had the idea, well, let's do this for YouTube. At that point, since I've made those like big macrame arches as well, like those were some complicated works, or at least that's what I felt like. And I felt like I have learned enough. And to your question, like how did I learn? It was YouTube. I was watching other people's videos. It was first that, and then once I got comfortable with making the basic knots, I would just search an image on Pinterest or somewhere, and just by looking at the image, I already knew how to make it because I could recognize the knots and how it was made. So that's how I learned, and that's how my macrame YouTube channel started eventually. So that was a much shorter answer to your question, but I hope you're happy with the answer anyways. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this little Q&A. I definitely want to do more of them in the future, so if you have other questions, feel free to post them down below, and I'll see you next week with another cooking video. All right, that's it from me for now. Bye.